What's up, Schyler?
What up, brother?
What is it that you do for your clients? Who are you helping, and what is that process?
Perfect. Yeah. So I'm in the wealth creation business and I help aspiring traders create a full time income trading so that they can live life on their terms, quit their 9 to 5 job, and make a full time income without working the full time hours.
Before we dive into some of that stuff, what was the problem you were trying to solve? At what point did you realize you had a problem, and what problem was that you came to me for my services?
Right. I thought it was one thing. Once I actually started working with you, is a lot more. And you brought a lot of that awareness to me, which honestly it generated the results that it has. So the number one thing I thought it was outreach. In other words, basically getting people to see my product and what I was offering, my services, so to speak. But the saying goes, if you build it, they will come, and that's not true. You got to build it, you got to market it, so you got to get your name out there, and that's what I ended up eventually coming to you for. I was like, all right, man, so I've got a product or a service figured out. I know what my mission is, and what I want to do, and even that has kind of molded and been perfected over time as well.
So you had your product or service, and basically your struggle was identifying that message or how to really construct a way to communicate with the people that you're really trying to serve. Because at that point, it was kind of like you wanted to help everybody, the people that were just getting started, and then also the people that had a lot of experience but wanted to get better experience. And we
Right.
came to the conclusion that those were really two different audiences and that they had two different messages. So what did you conclude in that process? Like, were you more in understanding of what that message needed to look like, and how is that working for you now?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the way that you talk to your audience, one, attracts the right type of individual. And when you attract the right type of individual for what you're doing, you get them better results. Whereas if you attract somebody that isn't your ideal client, it's more of a pain to work with them. They don't generate the right type of results that you want, and the system might not even work for them because of the wrong type of individual as well. So really, the messaging and targeting the right audience was very key. But in order to do that, I needed to figure out as well, like what what am I niching down to? What audience do I want to deal with? Like you said, is it going to be the beginners or the more experienced people? And even that had more questions involved with it as well to niche down on that specific type of audience. We ultimately decided to pick one and move forward with it, which obviously that made a lot better results as well over time now.
What part of the program do you think had the biggest impact on you learning that, like working with me and my team? What what was that change other than messaging?
When you first start out, you have a whole PDF that you fill out to really get clarity on your audience. Man, that goes in depth to really get a better idea as to what my audience was doing and who I wanted to work with. So that was a huge game changer in itself right there. And then the other part of it was, once you have that down, then we go into the funnels and we do the sales process, and we walk through that, value giving process as well, and the storytelling involved with that. And storytelling in itself is it's a skill set you have to kind of adapt and acquire and perfect over time as well. So those three things uh, is really kind of the track that I went down. At least I feel is like learning. Okay, here's my product. What's the audience that I'm dealing with? Now I need to know everything about that audience. Okay, now that I know everything about that audience, how do I talk to them? The sales copy to that. I'm working with you on that. And now, what problem are we solving for them? Right, as part of that sales copy as well. And then let's put this all into a nice sales funnel, and draft this up so that we can walk the client through a nice organized manner so they know exactly what they're getting. They don't have any confusion or frustration. It's a very simple process that leads them only down one road.
That's huge, is to have that simplicity too. There's a misconception that you need to have these amazing funnels, but the reality is if you are clear on your audience and know how to talk directly to them, and then bring them through that process, like you were saying, in a simple, easy to understand, clear call to actions, expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and then over delivering, which you do amazing at. Even on the front end, like providing so much value for free that it's a no-brainer. So you're doing actually a lot of the heavy lifting, which I think is necessary, for people to really create impact. And that's where most of my clients are. Those are the people that I work with, is people that are really developing an impact and not making it about the money, and
Right.
that's what it seems like it is for you. Is, the
Yeah.
money will come and that's cool, but the people that you're actually serving in that process and the lives you're changing, this is like we're in the business of changing lives, is what Todd Brown says. And I really resonate with that, because it's way more than even just the one person or many that you're helping. It's who are they able to go affect? Their families, their friends, they're, teaching them things, and it's a ripple effect. So it's really amazing to see what you've done. Do you mind talking a little bit about like a handful of your testimonials that you've been able to get?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've collected probably a little over 800, maybe even close to 1,000 now testimonials, of just people getting amazing results, and all different types of results as well to that, depending on their account size and what they're working with, and where their psychology is at as well. All, makes an impact on the type of results that they're getting. But I just had a coaching student yesterday that I was talking with them, and they did 22K in profits in a week with a 60K account without any leverage, which is a really risk adverse way of making that amount of money. I have another student that's done 180K last month, working with just under a $150,000 account. So did over 100% growth in a month and a half, was just phenomenal. We have, smaller results as well, where we have people that have, well, I won't even say smaller results, but people that have gone full time as well. Some of our top trainers inside of the Discord, inside of our educational program, were once students that have now worked their way up to full-time professional traders and can now teach that same system as well. So, I mean, these are the types of results that people are getting, and we really like to emphasize on them being life-changing, because that's what they were for me. That's what they are for a lot of these other individuals as well. And the power that the markets have to create that change. It's just incredible, man.
Yeah, and I want to touch on the fact that to take what they currently had and double that in a month, that's life changing. That amount of money, maybe, they have more money than that, but regardless, there's a lot that you can do with that amount of money, especially being in that first month window. It's like, and I'd like to, iterate that for everybody else watching this, is what kind of impact would that have for you in your own, personal fulfillment, and to be able to show somebody how to double their income in a month, or even get to 50% of what they're doing already, or there's so many life-changing effects from that. Takes involvement, that takes consistency, that takes
For sure.
showing up, and you're
Yeah.
doing everything super perfect. There's obviously always things that we can change and improve and test, but
Yeah.
to be able to do what you're doing on an organic basis, not running any ads, is freaking amazing. You're not reliant on that system. You've got a system down to where you can,
Right.
you know what's coming next month. It may change and stuff like that, and get better. But you've created a system.
Well, thank you, man. And I couldn't have done it without you, honestly, because you walked me through all of those processes. Before, I was just a trader, and before that, I was washing dishes for 7 years. So it's not like I had a whole bunch of business background or went to school or anything like that. It was like I was a dishwasher. I worked my way up into a management position that I held for just slightly over a year. Quit my job, went full time into crypto trading, and from there, I was just trading, 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 and then developed my system, kind of perfected it over that time period, and then went out and started teaching it to others, because it's a lot more fulfilling, rather than just trading by myself, to go out and help other people generate results. Plus, I didn't really care for the process that I went through on the educational side of it and my experience, so I wanted to change that for others as well. Just makes it a lot more fulfilling overall. It's an absolute must to leverage somebody's expertise, and I leveraged yours when it came to the marketing side of things and funnel building and everything like that. And I leveraged it when learning how to trade. I leveraged other people's expertise as well. I spent a lot of money leveraging that expertise, right? And it was worth every single part of that investment as well, because of the growth that we saw thereafter. So for me, it's a must. It's not even a question. You've got to seek out that expertise, no matter the cost, in my opinion.
So as a result of implementing the system, what was the outcome? What are, what have you been able
Yeah.
to do? Because we started February of 2020. What are you looking like today?
Yeah. So prior to February 2020, so that was when we first launched our first funnel. And prior to that, I had my course drafted up and ready, but it was just on a website. So, and I was just running YouTube, and I was trying to run people from YouTube over to the website to purchase from there. And I was just making, one sale a week, basically. It wasn't even that much. I was selling it for like 97 bucks at the time. And the first day that we launched that funnel and I released it out to everybody to go to this funnel and follow that process, I did $7,000 in a day. So going from making $100 a week, just on the sales course side of things, to generating 7K in a single day, was just incredible, right? And it showed that the process really did work when you put them on a track that brings them through, one decision making process. It's not like, they'd go to my website and it's like, here's all this stuff, like pick what you want to do. And people have a hard time making decisions. They just need to know what the information is, what it's going to do for them and solve their problems, and then a call to action to, initiate it. So that's what the funnel was able to do for me. And then from there, so in that first year, was able to do 6 figures in the first year, which coming from restaurant management and a dishwasher standpoint, that was obviously from a salary standpoint, that's incredible, right? You did what I'm almost tripled it the first year. So, and then we're only 6 months past that. And in the first 3 months, I did what I did last year, more than in the first 3 months. Now, and I've even hired your services again in regards to creating those funnels and perfecting them. We updated them too. And so from updating them this year, right, that it did what it took us 12 months last year, we did in 3 months this year so far. And now we've between the last 6 months, we've over doubled last year's income, just from the education standpoint. That doesn't include the trading side of things as well, that I obviously do for my main source of income. So, I mean, that speaks for itself volumes, man. And the fact that we updated things and we saw even bigger growth, right? We not only updated the funnels and the design of it, but also the message. We recapped and went over the audience again. We basically took the first process and we did it again for the next year. And I think that's crucial to do every single year, or maybe even every 6 months, because things are changing. Maybe the demand from your audience is changing. Maybe your audience needs to change. Maybe you've changed and grown up more, and you need to go after a different audience. That's one thing that you and I are working on right now, right? We're going after high-end clientele right now, which has paid tenfold versus the smaller clientele. And so we're obviously perfecting and redoing a whole new message for that as well. That's a whole different type of audience. So I think it's something that we gradually always have to come back to and make a system out of it even.
Yeah, and because the course, and like I'd mentioned before, it's a means to an end, if that's if that's how you're looking at it. But the reality of it is because those people are going through your course, which is elite among the rest, they want more from you. So that's where the real impact comes from, is being able to create raving customers. And you've got that. You've got over 800 testimonials, which is mind blowing. What, in 2 years since that launch, right?
Yep.
Roughly. And so now those people that are in that course, that have gone through it, gotten some results, want more from you. So they're paying you more now because they have more. Great job, man. That's pretty freaking amazing. And you deserve to really take every moment to be proud of yourself for the time you've committed, the work, the long hours, like the money that you've spent. It's really paying off. One other thing I'd like to voice is that, this is a long-term process. It's, in your first 90 days, you're not going to make, there's a chance you could make 100 grand, six figures. But if it only took 12 months to make 6 figures with your program, an additional 6 figures, would it be worth it? You know what I mean? And then, because it is a long game, that continues as you improve, those numbers get better.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of it just has to do with where an individual is at with their business, what type of audience they currently have and how defined their message is. That can really determine the results that they can generate if they get their sales process perfected and changed. And we saw that in the first half of this year because we had accrued an audience. I had a message. Now what did we do? We went back and we perfected it. We changed some things on it, and that generated even better results in 90 days. So, I definitely think that it's possible. It just depends on where you're at. When we first launched, I was at the beginning stages of a business, and the individual that I was too was somebody that runs the beginning stages of a business. So that also has grown.
Absolutely. So that would be my last question is, how has your life changed since going through the program and working with me and my team?
Yeah. Man, in so many different ways. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like the amount of freedom that you have, the amount of less stress too, because you've got your process down, right? It's a system now. You understand how it all functions and works, and you were able to provide that with me. You were able to create that machine for me, and with me as well, and then perfect my message and everything. So once you have that clarity, stress just goes out the way. Otherwise, when you don't have clarity, you're just like fog brained, and it's so stressful to be that way because you feel like you have a million things to do and you don't have the time to do it. And so when you just focus and get clarity on what is the most important, what you need to get done now, and then you dish that out, and now you've got a system for it. Now it becomes on autopilot and it can just run itself. And with the funnel process, it's a genius in that sense because I can literally, I'll be asleep and wake up and I can access individuals from around the world for my educational product. So I can wake up and have made money because they purchased from when it was daytime over there and I'm over here sleeping. So to have that type of passive income, that, flexibility of time as well, I can go out and I can go do anything I want to do any day. I can do it last minute if I want to. So long as I don't have like a meeting, but even a meeting, I can reschedule if I really want to. And to have that type of power, I never had that power before working at a job because you have to show up. And if you don't, there's, big consequences for it as well.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Freedom, clarity, and stress are probably the biggest things that people don't have or struggle with, because you're absolutely right.
Yep.
As experts in our industry, we have this thing that we're really good at, but all the marketing and sales and stuff like that, that's not where we've committed a lot of our time usually, unless that's your industry and that's what you're selling. But
Right.
um, the key is really specializing, and so you've gone all in on the coaching with cryptocurrency or day trading in general,
Yep.
and um, delegated some of those other tasks that are inevitably holding you back. I mean, because it's like, where do you start? And then you start, and then you're like, what do I say? And then when you say that, then it's like distractions come in. Then, eventually you might get it done. But, to have somebody to bounce off of and really implement something that'll work is going to save you all that time, stress, clarity.
I want to say too that working with you was an accountability thing too. So, I had somebody that I had to get content to. And so it drove me to get it done in a timely manner. Whereas if I didn't have you there, I would have taken a drastically much longer time. And I know that from personal experience too, when times when I wasn't working with you on a certain project and I was just trying to do it myself, it took me way longer to the point that I literally reach out and be like, yo, I got to do this with you because I'm just procrastinating on it way too long. Like, let me hire you. Let's work on this together because it helps hold me accountable. And that's a game changer in itself. So that was a really big thing as well. And I just want to say too, in regards to like what it's done for me, for my lifestyle and change, is options. It's given me more options because of, the financial gain from it as well. And the passivity of it in addition to that. So, and it's given me more fulfillment, being able to see people get those results and change their lives is freaking cool. Like I love doing that. And in the beginning I was doing it for free, just because of that too. Right. And then you honestly even helped me figure out, okay, you can't monetize it as well. It'll get them better results because they're invested in themselves. And holy crap, is that true? Like, when you do something for free, you're almost doing them a disservice. It's a great way to get people in the door and say, hello, this is who I am and how I can help you, and give them a piece of value. But if you really want people to generate, life changing results, they've got to invest in themselves. And that was one thing that I not only witnessed, but that you taught me as well.
Yeah, 100%. And having everything for free too attracts a specific type of audience, which isn't necessarily the one you want to work with.
Right.
But there's also always a time and a place,
Right.
providing value is a non-negotiable. You have to demonstrate that you're an authority. You have to show that you can, will, and want to help them.
Hmm.
And so you're doing that, and that's where the front end comes in, and that's why like the other half of why the sales process works. So it's not something you can do without, but there is a way to use it. It's not like showing them how necessarily, but helping them overcome some of their limiting factors and really seeing
Yes.
your way of doing it, the solution, as a solution for them, and that they can do it with your solution. So
Right. One of the biggest free values that you can give, or that I've experienced giving and getting, is changing people's mindset and how they think and look at things. Um, when you do that, you get them on. You create them to be more of your people, and the people that you want to work with too, by changing how they look at things.
1000%, man, you freaking nailed it right on the head. Man, I just want to say lastly and again, just to repeat, I'm freaking proud of you. You're killing it. You're not slowing down. You're changing lives, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for what the next few years have for you, man, because this is an industry that's definitely going to stay around, and um and continue to improve and evolve. And like you said before, that's where the results are, is continuously improving and evolving and innovating, and making that system better. So
Yep.
congrats to you, man.
No, thank you so much for everything you're doing. I'll continue to be working with you all along the way, man.